So here we are today at one of our beautiful parks. This is just the picnic area, the day use area. The park is the access to the tree that I have to get out of the way so that I can finish cleaning the irrigation ditch. So here we go. Into the ditch. Pretty easy access here. I was in here yesterday and tried to get to the spot, and the tree was blocking my access. So now I'm going to go take the tree out. Now this tree is in the way and power lines over here. I don't think it'll reach it, but I'm not taking a chance. There's a road right up above me. So this tree has to go out through here to do the least damage to these trees and this tree. So if I can lay it right out here, I'll be tickled, and that's where it needs to go. And with my Kubota power wedge, it's not a very big tree, but I'm still gonna put a plunge cut into it, face it up the front so it doesn't barber chair on me. Just don't need that. But with the power wedge, I should be able to pull it right over into there. Here we go. wasn't pretty, but it's down right where I wanted it. Deal. Now I'll just work it up. There, now that we have the tree down and the obstacle out of our way, now we'll continue on to finish the job we were to do yesterday. This one off too, it was sticking out a little far, just for future reference. Got a couple limbs in here. Cut those off, they were in my way. I already scratched my machine plenty yesterday, so trying to keep that as least as I can today. This big rock out, anything that impedes the flow of the water. There's some dead branches on this fir tree here. I'll knock them off so they don't scratch up things. Off pretty easy. This old tilt bucket's pretty handy. Just move it over. Anybody that doesn't have a tilt bucket, I would highly recommend it, especially on the 057, because it doesn't have the 6-way blade. Sometimes you have to cut grades just makes life easier. They're not cheap, they're fairly expensive, but worth every penny. George tried to get me to buy one for several years and I wouldn't do it, and I finally decided, well, maybe I ought to try that. Needed a tax write-off. So I got one, and it's like, yep, never looking back. The ditch guys would be real happy that I was able to get in here and get this, because otherwise they'd have to dig it by hand. I think I'll snap off. I find that this contraption that I made, this extra thumb piece, works pretty good for snapping most limbs. It's kind of hard sometimes with the regular thumb. Doesn't quite grab them real good. Especially these fir limbs, they snap pretty easy. Get an oak tree though, black oak, they are a problem. They just bend and they don't break. But I haven't done any with this new contraption, so try that, see how it works. Road drains into, you can see the culvert. Maybe you can see the culvert. Yeah, coming out of the bank right there. And in the winter time, all the flood water comes down and fills in the gravel where it's not supposed to be. Therefore, they get to hire me, and I come in and clean it out. Get the booty crash. Like these jobs, it's fun to get in, do something a little different. This is different. So this tree leaning over here, I am not going to touch it. It could reach the road. It's a snag and it's eventually going to fall in, but I'm going to let it do it itself. Reach the power lines and the road. But I'm just going to go in here and work my way back. Start about right here. Try not to hit that snag because I don't want it on top of me. Oh, just bumped it. Look up. Particularly need the tilt or the contraption on the thumb for this particular situation, but it's nice. I can just ease it in, pick it all up, dump it off. On my way back. To show you how well it really actually works. Just went over the edge of the gravel, especially when you're doing your last little bits. Ditches is kind of, you got to get used to it. You got to feel the bottom, because you don't want to dig the bottom. All you want to do is get the debris that came in during the winter, or several winters sometimes. So when you feel it getting a little hard down there at the bottom of your scoop, you can back off a little bit. Not dig the bottom of the ditch. See here, I just tip that bucket and I can just scoop right into that edge, pick that right up, kick it off. Yep, they're expensive, but you know, if you're doing your business right, you'll need write-offs. It can be one. Like a lot of work just to get in here and do this 10-15 minute job, but you had to do it by hand. I know there's people out there really appreciating that I worked my way in here. Of course, I probably just scooped up a bunch of gold right there. That's yeah, that's where that culvert's coming in. There is gold in this country. I mean, they've got most of it already, but there's probably still some left, although I've never found it. Now here's where my contraption comes in handy, because I don't really want to go any farther than this. So instead of scooping it to me and losing it, I just clamshell it, full bucket full, dump it off. It's not scooching toward me, anything like that. Fill the bucket up. Yep, should pan all that. Now you can tell there's a hole because the water's filling it in. downside of my contraption is you got to work the thumb an awful lot, but if you're been excavating for any time at all, you know that you work the thumb a lot. Oh, ow. Well, that ash tree's got a little store now. See how slick that just cleaned that up? Without having to put it against my blade, wear and tear on my blade, all that stuff. I think that's... Nope. Okay, there we go. The boys should be happy. Let me spin around here. Yeah, this these banks, these tight banks are a little rough on my counterweight. I got a few scars from yesterday. Probably get a few more today. When I spin around, out from underneath that tree. Hey, thanks for checking out my ditching video on how to do that, and I'll take all suggestions and comments on how I can improve my videos. I'd appreciate that, and always remember to look up and aim up. Thank you for watching.